playoff football is finally here, especially for the state of Michigan. We got the MIAA champions, Alma Scots, taking on and traveling down to Wisconsin Platteville, a WIAC team. In order to talk about all of that, I have the honor and privilege to have someone on that I've known for quite a few years at this point. Someone that, in my opinion, has one of the biggest game-winning touchdown catches in Alma football history over Mount Union. A great play. Alma seems to love that little run-up toss over the line. They did that against Hope. They did it against Mount Union. But I'm honored to be joined by the guy that caught it, the game-winning touchdown, Cole Thomas. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, sir. Thanks for having me today. A pleasure to talk about the old alma mater. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was just going to say that was you a couple years ago talking about getting in the playoffs, talking about an upset win over Mount Union that I truly think like shocked the D3 nation, but it was an insane game. And now we're talking about an Alma team winning the MIAA again for I think the third time in like the last 4 years, getting in the playoffs, having to travel to Wisconsin, which is a little interesting that the MIAA champions have to do that, but should be a fun game. And this is a Wisconsin Platteville team that is really, really good, coming from a really good conference. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute duel. I'm super excited. Yeah, to touch up on them traveling, that's just due to the first two losses that we had in the first three games of the year
Yeah.
at Hanover and then River Falls. So, I mean, that's a shared opponent between the two, River Falls. So, I believe Platteville, who's ranked number 10th, they lost to River Falls by 10 points, and so did Alma. We lost by 12 points. So it seems like, just looking at those games, it seems like it's going to be a pretty good matchup. At the same time, I see two powerhouse offenses. Platteville on that side, they're very run heavy, which I think Alma is more suited for versus a pass heavy offense. And it's kind of the same story on Alma side. We've been really run heavy with just that dynamic duo in the backfield between Carter and Eddie. I mean, they've just
Yeah.
been great, and it's hard to contain both of them. So I anticipate a great game. I'm excited to watch it Saturday.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a great game. I think Eddie Williams obviously is a big component of this offense, not even on the ground, but through the air as well. He's a guy that obviously this Platteville team will have to keep an eye on for, but there's still obviously a little bit of an element of kind of that high pace, high offense that this Elma team has done. And we talk about, and you mentioned Wisconsin River Falls being a similar opponent, but I don't think this Alma team is anywhere remotely close to the team that they were when they played Wisconsin River Falls at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It was the start of the season. I think we were still figuring out some wrinkles that we had issues with last year. And in 2024, we were not the same team that we were in 22, 23, and even this year as well. So I see a team that looks more on paths and on pace to what 22 and 23 did. So honestly, I would not be surprised to see them make another run.
Exactly. And this is a Wisconsin Platteville team that you talk about, very run heavy team, like very, very effective. They can still throw the ball a little bit. They average a little bit over like 260 yards through the air. But this is also a Wisconsin Platteville team that I think there's really one true running kind of back that you truly have to worry about. And I think it's going to be Zachary Buthen. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. He's been kind of the guy for this Platteville team. 13 touchdowns this year, over 600 yards on the ground. They also do have kind of that 1-2 punch a little bit like Alma has. Obviously, Alma's more of like a quarterback, but you also have to mention Blake Bennixson as well. Only has one touchdown, but still 424 yards on the year. So obviously kind of having that 1-2 punch is obviously going to make it a little bit interesting. But I think like you mentioned, Alma's kind of built on stopping the run. So I'm going to be interested to see what Platteville can do in this game, because if they can't run the ball, like you look at, like, I don't want to say anything negative about Platteville, but if you look at just when they've won games, they've ran the ball very well. And when they've struggled offensively, they weren't running the ball effectively.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one good thing with Alma. Just with Carter being in his senior year, there's so many ways that we can move the ball as well. So I think if we aren't able to run against them, I think we have other outlets out otherwise. And likewise with Platteville, it's two good teams that are going to figure out what to do. And whether it's in the first half, on the first couple of drives, they're going to make adjustments at half, and it's going to be an interesting game. I'm excited to see what it's going to look like at the end.
Exactly. And it's going to be interesting, like you specifically mentioned, because a lot of these teams, both of these teams, to be completely honest with each other, like they kind of have their set of guys, right? Like there's some teams that make the playoffs that have like a lot of guys that they can kind of go to, like a lot of guys that they can throw the ball to, a lot of guys that can run the ball. Like we mentioned, Platteville has two guys that have been effective running the ball. But if you talk about wide receiver, it's really like the main guy is Trevor Cece, 800 yards on the year, 10 touchdowns. You look at the next closest, which is Christian Gavrick. He has 471 yards. There's a gap right there. So I think obviously trying to stop Trevor is going to be a big component of that. But then you look at Alma side of things. They have Zach Poff. You have TJ Sealer. You have Brock Miller. You have multiple guys at the wide receiver position that have been impactful guys, but it's also been kind of the same guys every single week as well, which I think is, like you mentioned at the beginning, is a little bit different because I think the last couple of years, it was like, you can go here, you can go here, you can go here, you can go here. But it's a lot of these main guys that has been for Elma every single week, which is obviously a good thing. But that makes it a little bit more interesting going into a matchup like this when you're playing some of these top opponents. And I think you can say the same thing with Platteville as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially Platteville being in the WIAC. I mean, that conference is a powerhouse every
Yeah.
year, and this year more than anything. I mean, between River Falls, Lacrosse, even Whitewater too, on top of Platteville. I mean, those are all four teams that are easily, playoff worthy, if you will. Yeah, and Platteville, they just for them to come second in the conference. Sure, it was tied record wise, but some of the percentages and everything like that boosted them up. But yeah, they came second to River Falls, which I mean, in that conference, that's very impressive. So, and yeah, granted, we did send two this year. But I believe they have three teams in that from that conference in the playoffs this year, correct?
Easily, because you have River Falls. Hope is actually playing lacrosse. So if you want to talk
Yeah,
about an MIAA WIAC matchup, we got two of them. So
yeah, we do.
hopefully we got two wins in the MIAA after this week. But obviously we'll talk a little bit about that if that happens. But you also have Oshkosh as well, Wisconsin Oshkosh. Like they were in the top 25 for a while as well. You have Platteville. You also have Whitewater as well. People forget about
Hmm.
Wisconsin Whitewater. Like I don't know where these football teams are coming from Wisconsin, but it is an absolutely brutal schedule. And I do think that kind of plays obviously a little bit in favor of Platteville because obviously you're kind of used to like this type of game, right? Like it's going to be a
Exactly.
home game. You're used to playing the tough teams. But I also think you have to give credit to Elma as well and Coach Couch. You mentioned having to play River Falls really early on, trying to go there, really difficult to do. Hanover, I think, was a really big surprise that they lost that game. I think
Yeah.
everyone was kind of shocked. But then you
Hmm.
had to go to Hope. You beat Hope on a controversial ending. We won't go into that ending. You end up winning that game 35-34 to get into the playoffs. Like these are two very, very competitive, used to these type of big football games, and that's why I'm so excited about this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to get off topic, but how about that big interception by Brock Boudry, who intercepted his cousin. So that was very interesting. That was sweet. So, but yeah, no, I think it would be a great matchup. And yeah, the MIAA this year. I mean, this is the best conference I've seen in terms of the MIAA, and
Oh yeah.
honestly, since I've been watching this league. Be completely honest. I mean, now we have Adrian on top of Hope and Alma now. So three really good schools that are all top 25 worthy. Honestly, I think all three of them could have been in the playoffs. But yeah, I think it's going to be I think that helped them help Alma get ready for this matchup against Platteville, and obviously Platteville is going to be just war ready being in that conference. It's a different animal. It's kind of like the Mount Union Conference in Ohio. Those two conferences are always just super strong. Um, their teams are always very well prepared, and you see that in the playoffs. They go far very consistently. So for Alma to get a win, they're gonna have to play their absolute best ball. No mistakes like some that we saw against Hope or Adrian. It's going to be a perfect game needed. But I have confidence. It's Coach Couch gets their guys right, and along with the rest of the coaching staff. We got the captains on the team like Carter, Eddie, those guys. Brock Brugeri on the defensive side,
Yeah.
Jet King.
Yeah,
Those
you
guys
you can't
they're going to
you
be
can't
ready to come.
I was just going to say you can't forget about Jet King. That man has been absolutely balling on that side. You also have Kugelman as well
Oh
has been
yes,
balling at
yep,
the linebacker position. I actually didn't know that Buji was cousins of Noah, but two great obviously last names, two great players as
yeah,
well. But pretty crazy. That's how that obviously game that ended. But I think this is going to be one of those games that's going to come down to the very end of it. I think this is going to be one of those games of like who forces the other team to make mistakes because you look at just overall what Platteville has done. Platteville's been pretty successful of forcing mistakes. I believe they've forced I think like 20 plus turnovers this year. Now, obviously, when you have a guy like Carter St. John, um, do I think he's had the year that he's probably expected he was having? No. Do I think it's been as elite as he has been? No. But at the same time, like that man's just a baller. Like that
yeah.
man, like he wins. He's the definition of winning. Honestly, the Alma program's a definition of winning the last 4 years. But like when you have him as your quarterback, it's really hard to pick against a guy like that, and I don't think you can in this game. No offense to Platteville and Nathan, but like I'm taking St. John 10 out of 10 times in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Carter, he's a great guy. We just need to make sure we put all the puzzle pieces together and just play a complete game, not let the elements get to us, whether it's cold, windy. I'm not sure what the weather's supposed to look like, but I'm
It's
assuming it's going to be nice and cold. So,
I was just gonna say I think the rumor is it's supposed to snow, so we could have a
oh,
snow game. So
there
that
we
would be
go.
really fun.
That would
Fun
be
for the
interesting.
players.
I, the last snow game Elma had in the playoffs was Mount St. Joe in 22, and that was
Okay.
that was at home though. So, yeah, it's never fun to travel when you're playing
No.
in the snow. So, for
No,
sure.
but the good thing is Alma's from Michigan. They're from Wisconsin, used to kind of playing in the snow. I don't think it's going to really truly be that big of a difference.
Yeah,
Also, Alma has a pretty good like travel like fan base as well. So like I don't think that's going to be necessarily any worry about that whatsoever. Like I
yeah.
think you're going to obviously have the guys ready. I think Coach Couch is obviously going to be ready as well. You talk about him being in the MIAA. I think he's obviously a top two head coach in the MIAA. I know you would probably say he's number one. I'm going to leave it with top
Hey,
two
it's
to
all
let
it's all
let
biased,
the
subjective.
listeners not exactly know which way I think, but he's a great head coach. I love Coach Couch. He's a great guy, great coach, elite offenses, like just such a fun team. And this defense just flies around, man. They just hit, and I think I'm the same way. I'm like I'm so excited for this game. Honestly, I'm going to be
Yeah,
watching. I'm going to have Hope on the other TV. I'm going to probably have some sort of other college football on. I'm going to have basketball on. It's going to
but yeah.
be like 4 or 5 different screens, but this is what playoff football is. It's supposed to be watching these games at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you got the Michigan Ohio State matchup too. I mean, it's going
Yeah.
to be a great Saturday. I'm super excited. I'll definitely have both MIAA playoff games on as well. I'm very excited. Rooting for the MIAA across the board, and I
Oh
hope
yeah.
hope Alma and Hope can bring it home and make the conference, put the conference on the map, if you will. So
Yeah, and if we want to talk about future possible matchup, if Hope and Elma both win their games, we could talk about a future possible matchup. They're on the same side of the
goodness,
bracket.
yeah,
It
they
could
are.
be real interesting. Could be real
It's,
fun. Imagine that. Like imagine that game, especially how the game ended in Holland. That would be electric, and I would love to see that.
yeah, all I know is Hope would come to that game more than ready after what happened at the end
Yeah,
of that game.
I'm sure
So
both teams would be lovely,
yeah,
lovely to each
yeah,
other in that game. I'm sure
yeah,
both teams would be really, really nice to each other and saying everything's fine because we all
yeah.
know Hope and Elma like each other. Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure you wouldn't be able to tell it's a rival at all.
oh
No,
yeah, no, absolutely.
I think it'll be good. Goodness, just looking at the bracket though, I mean, Alma, if we can get past Platteville, granted it's gonna take everything in our power to
Yeah,
get past them. They are a great team. Looking at Bethel and Co, our potential matchups in the third round, if you will. I honestly think those are more winnable games than what we're playing in the first round. So if we can get there, I think we do have a good chance to make a run. When I was looking at Hope, I think they have a great chance to win at home against Lacrosse, and honestly, I'm expecting them to. They've been playing great. Um, and if they, it's just, man, they
You
didn't
got
have the
North
luckiest draw.
Central.
North Central, and I mean Hanover's no pushover either.
No.
So yeah, absolutely. So that would be very tough. If they get to North Central, that would be very impressive, and hopefully we can have another MIAA powerhouse upset.
Oh, yeah.
Hope and Alma taking down Mount Union North Central. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But any last thoughts before we give our predictions for this game? Anything else you want to talk about? Else you want to mention, like keys to the game? I think we've kind of talked about like a lot of it. It's going to be very physical. It's going to be very competitive. It's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be about what team forces the other team to make mistakes. It's just playoff football
Absolutely.
at this point.
Absolutely. And the forcing each other to make mistakes is going to be the biggest thing. You cannot have turnovers, you can't make mistakes in the playoffs. I think that's the biggest thing, in my opinion, is just having, the offense and defense stay true to their jobs. If we can do that, then we'll be fine, which I know between Coach Couch and Coach Rietma on the offensive side, and then Coach Cole and Coach Ettinger on the defensive side, I know they'll get the guys ready. So I think we just got to stay composed, not let the elements get to us, and just stay focused on the ultimate task and just go one play at a time, one game at a time. Don't look at the overall tournament, anything like that. Just focus on the task at hand. And if we can do that and we play our best, I think we can do a good W, a little upset W, if you will.
Yeah, and I also think another key is don't go down early. Like it's really,
Absolutely.
really difficult to go back on the road when you go down early. I also think Alma's done a pretty good job of actually going up early and kind of letting teams back into the game a little bit. It's one of those situations, if you go up early, you go up 2 scores, you have to put your foot down. Like you just
Yeah,
can't let the other team back in because when you do that against other teams and you go against a Platteville team like this, like if momentum swings that way, watch out because we've seen it. Like you look at like what Ashland did to Minnesota Duluth. Minnesota Duluth went up 7-0, 32 unanswered points from Ashland. Like let them have momentum and it's a blowout. I obviously
exactly.
don't think it's going to happen in this one. I think Alma is going to be completely fine. And I think in my prediction, this game is obviously going to go with Alma. I think Alma wins a really close game. I'm going to go with I think Elma wins by 3. I think it's going to be like a 30-27 game. I think Elma gets a little bit of an upset on the road, but even though it is technically an upset, I don't think anyone would be surprised if Elma wins this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I agree, especially just with how we've been doing the last, 22, 23 in the playoffs. So I agree with that prediction. I honestly think Elma will win by 3 as well. I think it'll be a little bit low scoring game, more on the 24-21 side.
Okay.
I honestly do see Platteville coming out hot, being at home, hyped for the playoffs. And honestly, just with the elements and everything, traveling, I think it's 6 or 7 hours from Alma by bus. I think it might have them have a slow start. I mean, I've seen this when we've traveled before in playoffs, Mount Union, other teams like that. It's just, I do have confidence in them. So 24-21, I see Platteville coming out, scoring the first touchdown. And I see us kind of clawing ourselves back into the game and figuring out how to stop their offense.
Yeah, and obviously when you're going up against a different team, when you're going up like a very run-heavy team, it takes a little while, and especially when you have the weather that they're going to probably play in, like that's the style you want to play in. But also, like Elma can play in that style too. Like in my opinion, I think Elma overall has a little bit more offensively that they can do than maybe what Platteville can do. I think Elma has the passing. I think Elma has the running. I think Platteville really kind of needs the running to be there to win.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree.
Yeah, but we'll obviously see on Saturday. It will be an interesting one. It will be a good one. It will be a fun one, and maybe I'll have you back on to talk about hopefully a win for Elma, and then we can talk about who they play next. We don't obviously know. Could be Bethel, could be Co. But what truly matters is getting the win on Saturday, and hopefully they can do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate the invite to join today. It's great catching up with you and touching the base on some Alma football.
Oh
And
yeah.
go Scots and best of luck to both teams.
Absolutely. Yeah, best of luck to both teams. And thank you for everyone for tuning in. If you like this, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. And thank you again for joining, Cole. Been a ton of fun And good luck to the Scots this weekend. Also, good luck to Platteville as well. But definitely will be cheering more for the Scots on this one. So thanks for everyone tuning in and tune in to the next one.